Well, hey, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
Good morning.
Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Going into October, getting ready for Halloween.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Ann and I, we do a 1.5-mile walk every night with our dog. And we go around our neighborhoods. And it was last night was when I noticed the neighbors have started putting up all the Halloween stuff.
Yep.
It's all going up. And I've got a couple of costumes already. Because you got to understand, for Ann, Halloween is not a day. Halloween is a season.
State of mind.
Yeah. And it's not about the horror movies and it's not about candy. It's about cosplay. It's about costuming. So every year now she plans like 3, 4, 5 costumes. Apparently, I am going to be, and I have to see if I can remember this name correctly, Genu from K-pop Demon Hunters. I'm going to be the demon with the big brim hat. Apparently, I'm also going to be Reed Richards one night. Then I'll have to see what other costumes Ann has planned for me.
She gonna paint the stripes in your hair?
I'll have the hat on.
For Reed Richards.
You know what? I don't really. Here's the fun. You know what's hard? I don't know why, but in our camera, my hair on the show looks pretty dark. But if you get like really close, I've been graying on the sides of my head.
Oh, I got that a while ago.
For years.
Yeah.
But it's really hard.
Read right
you
here.
You got the Reed thing going on too. I've had the graying in here for years, but you can't really
It's a sign of
see
intelligence,
it.
you know.
Yeah, that's right. A distinguishedness. But
As long as it doesn't fall out, I don't care how gray my hair gets.
um,
I'm gonna rock that
so
Richard
I don't
gear.
really know that I need to get, but maybe I'll put some flour in here just to accentuate it. I don't know if she's going to make me get the Pedro Pascal mustache or not, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, good to have you here, and here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your comments and questions. The way you send in a comment or question to the John Campea Show is simply by using our tip link. That's good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just go to our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Send on in your thought, theory, opinion, or question or observation. And as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on our show, you'll hear us address it on the show. And like I said, the good news is that the tip link's good 24 hours a day. So if you're listening to our show, say on a podcast feed, either on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. By the way, did you see that we were number 17 on the Spotify podcast charts? Despite the fact that almost everybody watches our show on YouTube, we still actually hit, but that's good because you guys should be subscribing to our podcast feed because that way the show is there when you need it. If you're driving on the road, at the gym, at work, and you can't have a video on in front of you, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast feed so it's there when you need it. All right. With all that down, guys, we got a lot of stuff to talk about here today, but we don't have time to talk about everything going on in the world of movie news. So we've got a bunch of topics that we can't discuss at length, but we want to make sure you're caught up on a lot of the other stuff. So we're going to start off today with a little segment of what we call In Other News.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. And we're going to start off with this. You guys remember that there were some alarming numbers came out for Wednesday season 2. Well, a lot of people wrote those off and said, that's just because it just came out. Well, now it's been out for a while. And according to Forbes, Netflix has revealed that Wednesday season 2 is pulling in far fewer viewers than its breakout first season. With the current numbers, get this, showing that it only has about 40% of season 1's audience.
Wow.
While season 1 was a massive global phenomenon, smashing records and even becoming the #1 Netflix most watched show ever, season 2 hasn't maintained that same cultural momentum. The drop-off highlights show how hard it is for Netflix to sustain a mega hit status across multiple seasons, even with a fan favorite property like Wednesday. Still, the series remains a significant title for the platform, even if it no longer carries the same record-shattering buzz. But if you want to just get how big Wednesday is, season 1 is the #1 show they've ever had. And even though season 2 right now only has 40% of the audience that season 1 has, I still think Wednesday season 2 is like the #7 or #8 biggest season ever on Netflix. That's how big it is. So don't worry too much about Wednesday. They'll be
So
fine.
the advertisers aren't like running away in droves.
I
Is that
don't
what you're
think
saying?
so. I think they're all okay. All right. Next up, this is kind of an interesting one, but a sad one too. New details about Peacemaker has come to light as James Gunn revealed that he actually created the character Myrn from season 1 specifically with the late Lance Reddick in mind. Gunn said he envisioned Reddick bringing his unique gravitas and presence to the role, but when the actor wasn't available, not because he had passed away yet, something else came up, he wasn't available, the part ultimately went to Chikudi Iwuji, who Gunn went on to cast again in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He was, of course, the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
He's great.
This behind-the-scenes tidbit underscores how Gunn often writes with particular actors in mind and how Reddick's legacy continues to resonate even after his passing. It's funny how much work he did in advance, because whether it was Percy Jackson or one of the recent Ballerina, like seeing him pop up and you forget, oh yeah, they shoot these things way in advance, and seeing him on screen again was actually kind of emotional. All right. Next up, Vincent D'Onofrio, who I just had a chance to meet this weekend. Vincent D'Onofrio has once again expressed his desire to take the role of Swamp Thing in the DC's upcoming film, making it clear that it's a passion project for him. The actor explained that he loves the character and the rich storytelling potential behind it, noting that Swamp Thing isn't just a monster, but a deeply human figure with layers of tragedy and emotion. D'Onofrio said that his interest isn't about grabbing another comic book role, he's already well known as Kingpin in the Marvel Universe, but about his genuine appreciation for the character and the chance to bring that kind of pathos to the screen. Oh, and if Logan director if James Mangold does indeed direct that film, which he's supposed to do, that also makes it kind of attractive. Okay, next up here, Bryce Dallas Howard, who I've had a chance to chat with before. I love her as a performer. I also really like her as a developing director. Anyway, Bryce Dallas Howard, who is directing episodes of Ahsoka season 2, which I didn't know that, by the way. I didn't know she was directing some of the episodes for the upcoming Ahsoka season. Teased at the upcoming season by boiling it down to just 4 words.
Always use crossed arms.
How long have you been sitting on that?
Just since it came up.
That is the slogan for Ahsoka. Always use crossed arms. No, Bryce Dallas Howard described season 2 of Ahsoka as stronger, deeper, darker, and weirder. She explained that the new episodes will expand the scope of the story while leaning harder into the emotional journeys of the characters, as well as exploring stranger corners of the Star Wars universe. While Howard didn't reveal any plot specifics, her description suggests that fans can expect higher stakes, richer character arcs. They couldn't be much more shallow than they were in the first season, and more of the mystical, unusual elements that set Ahsoka apart within the franchise. Look, I'm not gonna be dishonest here or disingenuous. I did not like Ahsoka season 1.
I did not either.
But I really like what Bryce Dallas Howard has done as a director in directing various episodes of a number of Star Wars shows. So I will be watching this with great interest. And finally,
I see what you did there.
yes, you did. And finally, a former WWE superstar and one of the largest human beings I've ever seen, Braun Strowman, may be our new Jason Voorhees. A fresh update is dropped on the long-awaited Friday the 13th reboot, with reports that casting is now officially underway for the new film. The project, which has been in development limbo for years, is finally gaining traction as producers search for actors to bring the iconic slashery story back to life. Now, former WWE star, the aforementioned Adam Scherr, also known as Braun Strowman, suggested that he could be getting the role of Jason in the film. He said the following: "There may be some talks about it with people that I know and my agency. If we can get everybody together and back on the same page and allow things to work, I might be your next Jason Voorhees." Which, he's kind of perfect for it. He'd be kind of great. I mean, he doesn't even have to act. Just put the mask on his face and away he goes.
He doesn't even have to shave that beard.
Yeah, might have to shave the beard, though.
Has any Jason Voorhees actor ever acted?
Not really.
They just kind of hit their marks.
Yeah, just hit your mark and you're good.
I don't know. Kane Hodder might take objection to that.
And guys, that will wrap up in other news. Okay, guys. With that all down, let's get things kicked off here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. Black Adam actor Aldous Hodge, who of course played
Hawkman.
Hawkman, thank you. Played Hawkman in Black Adam. He was also in that incredible The Invisible Man movie, which I liked, and he stars in that new Cross series that did very well for him. Anyway, apparently
he was actually good as Alex Cross.
Yeah, he's an extremely good actor. Well, according to Deadline here, Aldous Hodge is now joining the cast of Roadhouse 2 with Jake Gyllenhaal and Dave Bautista. Deadline wrote the following. After successfully launching the Cross TV series on Prime, Amazon is looking to stay in business with its star, as Aldous Hodge is set to join Jake Gyllenhaal in the sequel to Roadhouse for Amazon MGM Studios. Dave Bautista and Leah George also recently joined the cast of the pick, which Ilya Naishuller, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, is directing. Will Beal wrote the script. All right. I gotta say, I really liked the first Roadhouse. I didn't think it was a perfect film.
Swayze was great.
What's that?
Swayze was great, the first Roadhouse.
I mean, I'm sorry, the first of this franchise.
I know.
And I'm not saying it was as good as Swayze's.
It's pretty good, though.
But it was pretty damn fun.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first reviewed the first, this first of this series of Roadhouse, I said, look, this is a great example of doing a remake that is still its own movie. You know what I mean? Like, when you watch Jake Gyllenhaal's Roadhouse, it's clearly a Roadhouse remake, but it's not really like Patrick Swayze's Roadhouse. Like, it's its own film in many ways.
And the location was great.
Oh, the location
like
was
this,
wonderful.
Beachy Florida Keys. I don't know where we are, but I love it kind of a thing.
You know what? One of the things he did so good, Jake Gyllenhaal, there's this one scene in particular that I think really kind of embodies the movie, which is the first time a bunch of the biker dudes show up. And one of the jerks was the star of the Sons of Anarchy spinoff series. And he takes him outside and goes, let's step outside. And he's fighting 3 or 4 of them at once. And the whole dialogue, it's like, all right, I just broke your left arm. We're going to want to go to the hospital. Then he turns around and takes out the other. And then he ends up driving them all to the hospital afterwards. It's like, there's something so great about this. I mean, I could have done without the UFC star
Conor McGregor.
McGregor. I could have probably done without them. What's up, fellas? I could have probably done without him, but I had a good time with it. Now, you guys will remember that Doug Liman, who was my director in my Hulk movie. My director, let me rephrase that. He was my director in my the movie I co-starred, or that Hayden Christensen co-starred with me, Jumper. Jumper was the movie I was in.
By the way, great movie.
Yes, I had fun with Jumper too. Anyway, so Doug Liman directed the first Roadhouse, and you guys remember there was all this drama that Liman got totally pissed because he claims they promised him it was going to be a theatrical release. Then he didn't do any press for it afterwards. He didn't go to the premiere. He said they double-crossed me. Amazon said, no, we gave him the choice for it to be a theatrical release. And he said no. So it became kind of a he said, she said thing. So
it should have been a theatrical release.
But you know what? Now that you got Jake Gyllenhaal in this, you got Dave Bautista, you've got Aldous Hodge, and you had the success that the first one had. And everybody said after that first one, this should have been a theatrical movie. And with Amazon putting out so many films going to theaters now, there's nothing in this report about it, Rob, but I'm willing to go out on a limb and I'm going to bet that they will make this Roadhouse a theatrical release. And now they're treading where nobody's been before, because there was no Roadhouse sequel, to the best of my remembrance. There was no.
Or there might have been a direct-to-video sequel.
Right, but that wouldn't have had Patrick Swayze
No.
or anything like that. So there was no true Roadhouse 2. So now this is truly kind of an original in many ways. I've got a feeling with Aldous Hodge, who I think is great. He's just, not only is he a beast, Like, he is a big physical beast, man. This dude can act. He has screen presence. He can turn it on. He can shift the emotions and all kind of stuff. He's a very gifted actor. So you add him to this, I think they're going to go theatrical with it. Anyway, Rob, you hear about Aldous Hodge joining this. What do you think about that? And what do you think about its future?
Well, look, I'm a proponent of these kinds of movies. I mean, when we grew up, not every movie was a $200 million spectacle or a low-budget horror movie. Now we just seem to have horror and big-budget spectacle. What we don't have is those enjoyable movies about people. Like, the great thing about Roadhouse is you like Jake Gyllenhaal's character. And like you pointed out, he was fun. You know, he's like, are those your bikes out front? And when the guy breaks, you know, when he breaks the pool cue, and he takes him outside, I'm going to kill you, you know, and it's just, I just want to see beautifully shot, mid-range, mid-level adult drama where people kick ass. You know, what we need is like canon films. Roadhouse was Joel Silver.
Yeah,
it was. Yep. And Joel Silver made a lot of movies like Ricochet, you know, even like
you couldn't even say it without laughing.
These movies aren't great movies, but they're movies that we need. I mean, you know, The Last Boy Scout. We have a whole, they've all turned into like 10 episode series. Reacher was 2 movies. Then we get a 10 episode series. But the first Reacher with Tom Cruise, that's a great movie.
That was really good. The second one, I don't even want to talk about.
It's not so,
but that first one was really
good. I mean, and Tom Cruise made like American Made too.
Yeah,
which is not American Made too, but really American Made. Yeah, and I'm like, where are those movies? And Roadhouse was one of them. I want Roadhouse 2 in a theater.
What do you think about Aldous Hodge taking the role?
I think it's great. I mean, look, I was really excited about the Alex Cross show. I didn't think the show was as well written as I wanted it to be, but he was great.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to admit how many of the Alex Cross books I've actually read. And it was sort of a descending. They used to be like these really great mystery novels. Then James Patterson's like, I'll get somebody to help me write these. We'll put them out. We'll write it. Take me a weekend. But he wrote some great, I mean, look, we got Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. Those are with Gary Sanji and Michael Wincott as Gary Sanji. Those are pretty good.
Yeah, but, you know, the first time that I had the opportunity, he came into my studio, that I had to sit down and chat with Tyler Perry, which, by the way, I've had a chance to hang out with him a couple of times. Shockingly cool guy. Like an extremely cool, friendly guy. Like, I really like him. But the first time I got together with him, it was to start to promote his Alex Cross movie.
Yeah, that Rob Cohen directed.
And I remember being so impressed with him. I'm like, I'm excited about this. Like, who needs Morgan Freeman? Right? So I got excited about it. That movie was so bad.
It was not good.
I'll see you at the cold gates of hell. Like,
since you brought up Tyler Perry built an entire radio-controlled airfield behind his mansion.
I thought you were going to talk about the studio he built.
No, he's got an incredible. That's great. The studio's great, but he has gigantic radio-controlled planes built by like these. And if you watch them on YouTube, just look up Tyler Perry radio-controlled airplanes. He has some of the biggest jet radio-controlled air. It's the most amazing thing ever. And one of my dreams in life, John, is to go. There you go. Look right there. That's Tyler Perry. They build these at his facility.
That's a remote control plane?
Yes. Dude, one of my dreams in life is to go to Tyler Perry's house, not just to meet with him and hang out with him and tell him how great he was in Gone Girl.
He's so good in that.
But I want, look, I want to,
I got a better shot.
I wouldn't even want to fly one. I just want to hang out with him and watch him fly.
Be so expensive. I don't know why I can't bring
these
that
are,
up.
he spends millions of dollars making these.
Now, if Tom Cruise were there, he would grab on to like the
Just
tail
ride
and just ride it. He's
Yeah,
small
dude.
enough.
There
He
you
could do
go.
that.
I mean, look at these. Look at how big these are.
Oh, by the way, these aren't just so like no one's confused. Like these aren't like propellers to make it look like a jet. They actually are little turbine.
These are jets. These are turbine
little
engine
jets.
things. Dude, and look at that. See that runway behind him? He built a second mansion that's actually his hangar.
That's what money can do for you,
Dude,
Rob.
if I was as rich as Tyler Perry, I would do that exact same thing after my home theater was built.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? You know, Hodges joined Roadhouse 2, and now not only does it have him and Jake Gyllenhaal, it's got Dave Bautista in it. Do you think they might, make the jump to theatrical on this one. Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm looking forward to, because I really like the first one. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? It's official. 20 years after the Simpsons movies came out in theaters, we're getting The Simpsons 2. As IndieWire is now reporting that The Simpsons are coming back to the big screen with a new movie in 2027, which will mark 20 years since the original one. This comes after it's been announced that it's been renewed all the way through its 40th season in 2028, 2029. Now, since it's been renewed all the way up to its 40th season, 2028, 2029, some people thought when they first heard that there was going to be a new Simpsons movie, that meant, oh, this is how they're going to be to finally end the series. Nope, it's still going to be running for like another 2 seasons after this movie comes out. Now, listen, in case some of you forgot, the first Simpsons movie made over $500 million. Now, have the Simpsons ratings been in constant decline over the past 25 years? Yeah, they have. But people still watch. And I would go so far out to say that they have lost none of their pop cultural relevancy. Even though the viewership numbers on the series have gone down, I would argue that they have lost none of their pop cultural relevancy. They are a goldmine IP for a lot of for the studios, for the theme parks, merchandising. There are a few things as recognizable as The Simpsons. And like I said, they've been around. We're coming up on 40 years that they've been around. 40 years. I always bring up this story when we mention The Simpsons, but it bears repeating. I remember as a kid coming home and reaching into the mailbox and pulling out the physical copy of the TV guide.
Ooh.
That used to get mailed to our house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's my favorite thing every week.
And the cover story of the TV guide was they had just moved The Simpsons to Thursday nights on the same night that The Cosby Show was on.
Wow.
And the headline was Bill Cosby, I'm gonna kick Bart's butt. That's how long The Simpsons have been on TV, folks. Yeah. That's how long The Simpsons have been on TV.
I remember in middle school, we weren't allowed to wear Bart Simpson shirts. The school banned them.
Yep. I remember there was some controversy
because you couldn't, because of the Eat My Shorts shirt, and then a couple others. So they're like, he is disrespectful, and then we weren't allowed to wear them.
You know, it was back around those days that I was like in church circles at the time, right? And there was a lot of people thinking, oh, The Simpsons is bad. And then this book came along. I remember this. This book came along called The Gospel According to Bart Simpson, which was actually a remarkable book that basically laid out, actually, The Simpsons really promotes Christian values.
Yeah, morality.
Yeah,
right.
Christian morality and Christian values when you actually go through it. I thought it was a wonderful... Anyway, I'm getting totally sidetracked here. All right. To me, there are 2 huge stories here. One is that we're getting a sequel to a $500 million film 20 years later. By the way, the best moment of that first film, and I might be it's been a long time since I've seen it, but throughout it, there's this montage of Homer with the Huskies and the dog sled. Mush with the web. Mush. And then at some point, like, I think one of the dogs bites his arm and he's like, oh, that's my whipping arm.
Yeah. Jeez.
Which, anyway, I really like that first movie. Whatever. Now, look, I don't think Simpsons 2 will also be a $540 million film. But I would not put money against it either. I'm going to tell you what. It seems weird to say this about a show that is still on the air. This movie will have a nostalgia factor. And listen, if they make a really good movie, and I don't know if they will or not, and they put out a tremendous marketing campaign, and I don't know if they will or not, but if they do, I wouldn't bet $100 with you, Rob, that it won't make $500 million. I mean, this could be one of those really weird things. Anyway, Rob, you hear about this Simpsons coming 20 years after the first movie, 40 years after its creation. What do you think about this?
It makes me think about the first time I saw The Simpsons at all. I want to say it was a short subject before. It was a Fox and was it Die Hard?
What was her name? Tracy Ullman.
Yeah,
Tracy Ullman.
But
they
no,
were
but
little shorts on Tracy Ullman.
right. But this was a short in a theater.
Oh,
And it was like they were electrocuting each other. And I want to say it
that
was
sounds right.
It was before Die Hard. Wherever it was, I saw it at the Avco theater before it was split into two on Wilshire Boulevard. And I remember that was my first experience with The Simpsons. And maybe it was Die Hard 2. I don't remember. But I thought, well, this is wild because Matt Groening had gone to my college, the Evergreen State College, and he had that cartoon, that single panel cartoon, Life in Hell.
Right, I remember that.
That's where the Simpsons design characters kind of came from. And I remember seeing that going, wow, a guy from my old school, my crunchy, chewy granola, founded in 1967 hippy dippy school, as somebody made good. Somebody did something good in the entertainment business. Cut to, he's probably one of the richest men who's ever lived in showbiz. But you go, Matt Groening. But yeah, so I can't believe we're still watching The Simpsons. You asked me, I think like you, I think this movie, depending on, like any movie, if it's got a great plot and it's relevant somehow, and the family audience, they'll go. Why wouldn't they go? What they really should do is a South Park Simpsons crossover.
Well,
I forget whereas the first Simpsons movie made around $540 million. Does anybody, Jonathan, maybe you can look this up. How much did the South Park movie make? I can't remember if
it's a little bit more punk rock than The Simpsons, so I would imagine it made less.
I'm not sure.
Bigger, longer uncut.
Yeah,
It was 83 mil.
Yeah, so maybe what was really funny, what I always enjoyed is when Simpsons and Family Guy did crossovers.
Yeah,
those were usually pretty funny when you had Peter and Homer doing stuff together. That was pretty.
But
cute.
nowadays, I'd love to see us crossover with the South Park boys.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all kind of works out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The Simpsons 2 is coming in 2027, 20 years since the first Simpsons movie, nearly 40 years since The Simpsons debuted. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on and talk about this, shall we? Well, we were just talking about how The Simpsons just announced The Simpsons 2. And if you recognize the release date that it's supposed to come out in 2027, and you think, why did that release date sound familiar? Oh, that's right. Because Disney, who is in charge now of The Simpsons, was supposed to be putting out an as of yet untitled Marvel cinematic film a few months before Avengers Secret Wars comes out. Well, now, according to these reports, the Marvel movie previously expected before Avengers Secret Wars is now gone. It lost that release date, obviously, because Disney gave the date to The Simpsons. Superhero Hype writes the following. An MCU movie that was originally supposed to arrive before Avengers Secret Wars has lost its release date. Avengers Doomsday is being directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. That's coming out in 2026, whereas Secret Wars is coming out in 2027 with the 2027 release date. Secret Wars is also being directed by the Russo brothers. Now, there was also supposed to be an MCU movie releasing between Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. Marvel, however, has removed the untitled project from its release schedule. It was originally dated for July 23rd, 2027, which of course now will belong to The Simpsons. Now, if this holds, what this means is, in the span of a number of years, we are only going to have, between now and 2028, we're going to have 3 Marvel movies. Between now and 2028. We've got Spider-Man, Brand New Day coming. We got Doomsday coming. And then we'll have Secret Wars at the end of 2027. We're in 2025 right now. Between now and 2028, we're only going to get 3 Marvel movies, if this holds. Now, remember, Bob Iger a while ago came out and said, we are going to reduce the sheer amount of quantity of projects we've been doing, probably 2 shows a year, probably 2 movies a year, maximum 3. Because remember, they had that one year where they had like 9 projects come out in the same year, which was just getting ridiculous. So this is in line with that. But even with them saying they're going to have a reducing, this is very, very few films. Now, the speculation has been, what was that movie going to be? There are 3 primary candidates for what that movie was going to be that a lot of people think. One, and not as popular, but some people thought it was going to be Shang-Chi 2. Because, you know, when you look at Marvel Zombies, they're really highlighting Shang-Chi. They're obviously really highlighting Kamala Khan, all that kind of stuff. So some people thought it was going to be Shang-Chi 2. The other option that was a more probable was Black Panther 3. We already know that Ryan Coogler has been talking Black Panther 3. He's got plans for Black Panther 3. So a lot of people think that date could have been Black Panther 3. The most likely, and the one that seems to have the most traction, is that release date in 2027 before Secret Wars was going to be Doctor Strange 3. That also would make a lot of sense when you know Doctor Strange's role in the Secret Wars story. It would make a lot of sense that that could be a Doctor Strange thing as well. Or it could have been something else entirely. Now, it also should be mentioned here that while whatever that movie was going to be has lost its release date, it does not necessarily mean that it won't get another one, right? Like, as of right now, between now and 2028, we're only getting 3 Marvel movies: Spider-Man, Doomsday, Secret Wars. But it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. It is very possible that sometime, Rob, in the next couple of weeks, we get an announcement: Doctor Strange 3, September 18th of 2027, or Black Panther 3, October 9th of 2027. That could happen. Or, Rob, the other possibility here is that Disney and Marvel have just thought to themselves, we need a real reset here. By reset, I don't mean rebooting. I mean, let's let the strength of the Avengers films just come in, do their thing, and then let's keep producing our movies after that. Let's not risk putting out a movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars that people don't like. Because if people are cooking with Doomsday and they're cooking with Secret Wars, great. Let's now proceed after Secret Wars. They might be thinking in their boardrooms, Rob, that, hey, why put out a Black Panther 3 and run the risk of that not being well received and then hurting? Now, by the way, nobody has said this. This is just me speculating. So, Rob, a couple of questions for you. Number 1, what do you think about them dropping this date? Number 2, what movie do you think was going to have that date? Number 3, do you think whatever that movie was will just get a new date before Secret Wars? Or are we truly only going to get 3 Marvel movies between now and 2028? How do you see it?
Well, there's a lot of questions there. Yeah. But I tend to agree with you. I think, look, the scope of Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars is massive. We haven't seen Chair Watch 2 yet, so we know that they've added lots of people. I mean, the story that they're trying to tell is enormous. I dare say, I mean, not since Lord of the Rings has there probably been a more ambitious series of movies. Although it's not 3 movies, it's 2 movies. Although maybe it'll be 3, you never know. That's what happened with, remember, there was only going to be 2 Hobbit movies. Nope, there's going to be a 3rd one.
Yeah, it should have been 1, and they ended up being 3.
But still, this is probably the most ambitious thing they've ever attempted in the history of Disney Studios. They know how important it is. They know they have to get it right. Frankly, somebody probably went into Kevin Feige's piggy bank and found out there was only 1 quarter left inside of it, going, how are we supposed to pay for this other movie? You've run out. But I do think that, like you said, they're probably going to put all of their time, because the monetary investment, the creative investment that is going into these 2 movies, not only is it enormous from Disney's or from Marvel's side, it's also an incredible financial investment from Disney's side. This is an investment that must be protected. They've never spent this kind of money on anything ever. And so it's incredibly important on every level to the studio, both to Disney itself and to Marvel. They've got to get it right. And I would also say that one of the things you didn't mention is we have 2 upcoming Disney shows that could also, one of them at least, doesn't play into any of this, and that's the Vision series.
Right.
I've heard the Vision series from what people have told me and what little birds I know have told me. It's testing really well, whatever they've shown or whatever. It's apparently very, very good. And as you know, I'm a big fan because Terry
And
Matalas...
we still don't have a release date for that.
There's
right?
no release
Yeah.
date. No one said anything about it. I mean, it recently wrapped just a couple months ago in London, where they shot the entire thing. Terry Matalas posted a picture of himself with Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen. Didn't say anything about it. He just posted the picture just 2 days ago or whatever. Don't know what that means, but that's exciting. And the Wonder Man series. Wonder Man was a big Avenger in the comics.
Which was filmed
2 years ago.
Years
Same
ago
thing
that was
with
filmed. We're
Ironheart.
still waiting on it.
And not this Comic-Con, but Comic-Con the year before, I heard from somebody, an insider who I trust, that how good the show actually really was. So I don't know if those play into Doomsday at all. I don't think either one of those shows do, but perhaps maybe they play into Secret Wars. So they do have those coming. And those are big, big, big shows that will probably, I can't imagine they won't be coming out somewhere between these Avengers movies, but they should. And then whatever animated stuff they're going to do, I don't know. But I do think the reason that they've decided they need to focus all their time on their biggest investment yet. I mean, this dwarfs even Infinity War and Endgame in terms of what money they're spending on these films. I can only imagine. And we heard that they were going to shoot Doomsday concurrently with Secret Wars, which clearly they are not doing. They stopped with the time that was given to them. They're probably going to do what they did with Lord of the Rings. They're going to look at Doomsday. They're going to see. It's going to be iterative. They're going to go back in. They're going to do reshoots. If things don't work, they're going to better them. They're going to make them better. That's the way. They're going to go Peter Jackson style. And the pickups for Lord of the Rings were not like just a week or two. There was a long time. And they did a lot of reworking in those movies to get them right. I think Marvel knows they have to do that, and they're giving themselves time. Nobody has time to pay attention to making a movie between those two. It makes sense to me. I think it's a good move.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Marvel has given up and abandoned that release date for an untitled Marvel movie between Doomsday and Secret Wars, meaning that as of right now, in 2025, what were we going to say?
I thought you asked me what I thought the movie was that they're not making.
Which one do you think?
I really do think it was Black Panther 3 because Ryan Coogler had been talking about that. Denzel Washington had alluded to him being in
Has a role
Black
in
Panther
it, yeah.
3. And I think that they probably realized that movie's big enough because it would probably involve the Taliban Empire, whatever, that it was interfering with whatever was going on in these 2 Avengers movies. So it's probably great it moved off of its date.
So whatever you guys think about all this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, the last thing for James Gunn's Superman movie to do, it had its theatrical thing. It was a triumph. Critics loved it. Audiences loved it. Made over $600 million. Then it hit VOD. Climbed to the top of the VOD charts. It was the #1 seller, blah, blah. And now it's on HBO Max. And apparently it's crushed it on HBO Max. As outlets are now reporting, the James Gunn Superman makes HBO Max history, joining Warner Brothers' $1.4 billion hit. The story basically goes like this. Superman has hit now HBO Max. It's available on HBO Max. And it's become the absolute #1 top viewed thing in its first 10 days since Barbie, which was a $1.4 billion film in theaters. They say it garnered over 13 million views in its first 10 days, again, dwarfing everything else that they've had come out in the last number of years. And again, right up there with Barbie, which once again was a $1.4 billion film. In there. So, I mean, Rob, we were talking about Fantastic Four the other day that, it made over $500 million at the theaters. That's kind of pedestrian for a Marvel, like historically for a Marvel Cinematic Universe film. But I mean, the people on the home video front of it have kind of flocked to it. It's number one on the charts. It's all that kind of stuff. Superman, again, did better than Fantastic Four did, made over 600 million. But again, it enjoyed success on the PVODs. It's now enjoying success on HBO Max. Got to figure everybody's seen it by now. But, you know, I feel like now this is the last thing for it to do, right? It had to come out in theaters. We talked a lot about it. It had to come out on PVOD. It did that. We talked a lot about it. Had to come out on HBO Max. So here it is. This is probably the last thing we need to talk about with Superman because there's nothing left for it to do except for put out a sequel. So we're looking forward to Man of Tomorrow.
Steelbook. We got to talk about the Steelbook.
That's the next big thing. So Rob, I mean,
there's like 4 different ones.
Yeah, there's a number. There's
you go Amazon Italy has different ones, and there's like, you know, there's great steelbooks there too.
So this is a question we've asked before, with the legs that the movie had, then it's PVOD. But let's ask it again now with this additional perspective and context. What is it about this movie that has just, on whatever medium it was playing in, whether it was in theaters, on rental, now on HBO Max, what is it about this film that had all the things working against it that it had working against it, that has the audiences keep flocking to it every new medium it pops up in? What's its staying power?
Well, first of all, I do think that it's playing well with family audiences. You know, it's not your typical family fare where they get animation or they get, you know, something. This is a movie that's a different kind. Yes, somebody gets shot in the head. Perhaps not the most family-friendly thing in the world. But
remember how stunned you and I both were when they did that?
Yeah, I was stunned.
I think you and I kind of looked at each other and was like, oh, whoa, holy crap.
But this movie is so, I think it really is family-friendly. I think kids probably love it. I know that if I'd seen this movie when I was 8, I mean, I saw the original Superman, the movie, when I was 11. But if I saw this movie when I was 8 because of all the super science and the craziness and crypto and all the stuff that's in it, I would have watched it incessantly over and over and over and over again. So I think that's part of it. I think that it's got a family audience to it. And I think it's just fun. You know, there's no pretension to it. It's wacky. I mean, you never know. When you watch this movie, you never know what's going to happen from scene to scene to scene. I mean, if you think about it, because I've watched it a couple times, and I'm just like, this movie has, I mean, people could say that's a failing of the film, but I would say I really like the fact that it's kind of got everything in it. You know, like the opening scene, and I keep watching the behind the scenes. I think that's another thing about it. They've released the behind the scenes material on digital and stuff. And I love the behind the scenes of the making of this movie because it's also fun. And I think this movie has there's an aura of, it just puts a smile on your face, man. And it's not pretentious or portentous. It's just fun. It's just trying to make you have a good time. And we don't get that a lot.
Yeah, and I think there have been films that have tried to do it.
Yeah.
And some of them succeed, some of them don't. Superman knocked it out of the park. And listen, and I say this, I like to keep giving this context. Man of Steel is my favorite Superman movie.
Yeah.
It still is. But I loved this Superman movie. I thought it was great. And, you know, again, whenever this comes up, like I just saw somebody in the live chat, wait a minute, didn't Man of Steel do better? Well, here's the thing. Imagine I'm going to give you a sports analogy. Try to stay with me. Let's say that Jonathan and Rob were both going to be NBA coaches. Rob was given a team with LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Carl the Mailman Malone, and, you know, Steve Nash.
I know who all those people are.
So this is hockey we're talking about?
Yeah.
Jonathan was given a team of me, Christian Harloff, and Dennis Zen.
Hey, man.
Only 3 guys. Now, they both go into the NBA season. Guess what? Rob's going to win more games. Does that mean Rob was the better coach? No, it does not. I give that analogy because when Man of Steel came out, which again is my favorite, when Man of Steel came out, the DC brand hadn't been run into the ground. There was fresh new optimism, fresh new excitement.
And Marvel was huge too.
And Marvel had lifted the excitement around comic book movies to record highs. And Superman was coming off of, it had been years, but it was coming off of the Christopher Nolan Batman films. And about 23% more people were going to the movies the year that Man of Steel came out than do today. Today, Superman comes out in the shadow of a destroyed, ruined, and rubbleless DCEU that was run into the ground, that everybody had abandoned and given up on. Fewer people are going to the movie theaters in this era, and yet Superman still managed to make over 600 million, and Man of Steel made over 600 million as well, but a little bit more. But I would argue, as somebody who Man of Steel is my favorite of the Superman movies, given the context that Man of Steel came out in and all the wealth of advantages it had over this Superman movie, it should have done a hell of a lot better financially than this Superman movie did. The fact that this Superman movie did as well as it did in its current circumstances is nothing short of remarkable. Going back to the Sports Illustration, if in that league, Jonathan Voico took his team to the finals against Robert Meyer Burnett's team, even if Jonathan Teams loses, that would have been a remarkable accomplishment with me, Christian Harloff, and Dennis Zen as the three players on the team.
Rocky won, man. We went
It'd
the
be like
distance.
Rocky won. Yeah. So, I mean, anyway, context is king, and context means anything. And again, I say that as somebody whose Man of Steel is my favorite movie. But again, it's incredible to see its final leg now hitting streaming, still enjoying that kind of success. It's amazing to see. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Superman has just broken a number of records for HBO Max and being the highest viewed thing they've had since a $1.4 billion Barbie film hit it. Whatever you guys take away from that, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we thought we'd play a little game since we didn't do anything yesterday. A little round of overreaction. How we do overreaction is pretty simple. We ask you guys on the YouTube channel to send in some of your hot takes, and Rob and I will adjudicate whether we think your hot take is an overreaction or not an overreaction. Jonathan's picked out a few of them there. So, Jonathan, what do we got?
All right, Rob. We'll start with you. Let us know if this is an overreaction or not when we hear from Stuart Kuramoto, who says Star Wars Starfighter is poised to usher in a brand new golden age of Star Wars and will finally unite the fans.
I think that's a bit of an overreaction. Only because I think that it seems very specific in what it's going to do. And I think it will hopefully add to the luster of the Star Wars brand post Andor. But when you're talking about it like it's just some big rallying point for fans to go behind it and scream rah, 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 I don't know. I think you're going to have people that go, there's not enough Jedi in it. There's not enough Sith in it. I think it's a movie set in the Star Wars universe, and it's something hopefully we haven't really seen before. So I don't think that it's going to be the way you said. I think it's going to be a solid film, though, that people will like.
I'm going to say it's not an overreaction. And the reason I'm going to say it's not an overreaction is I take us back a couple of years to when Mandalorian Season 1 came out. When Mandalorian Season 1 came out, the Star Wars fandom was already clearly fractured and divided. But for a brief window of time, Rob, everybody agreed. We like Mandalorian.
Right.
Everybody liked it. Everybody got on board with it. It didn't have Jedis. I mean, you had a little baby Yoda, but I mean, it didn't have the Jedis running around. Didn't have lightsaber duels.
Until it did.
Until it did later on. But there was a brief window of time where it felt at least like the family got back together. I believe when you look at Sean Levy's last feature film, which was Deadpool and Wolverine, that film kind of did that too, with some people are like, Marvel's great. No, Marvel's awful, blah, blah. And Deadpool and Wolverine came out and everybody's like, you know what? This is a pretty fun movie. And it kind of got everybody back together again. Will it? We won't know until we see Starfighter. We won't know. But can Starfighter do the same thing that Mandalorian did? I submit to you that it's possible. So I'm going to say that's not an overreaction. But we'll see.
We will
All right.
see. History will
next?
tell the tale.
All right. Going back to you now, John, is this an overreaction when we hear from Austin Rodriguez, who says Michael Bay returning to the Transformers will bring interest back to the franchise?
Not only is that an overreaction, it is the antithesis of all that is true. Now, yeah, listen. I am a fan, an unapologetic fan of the first Michael Bay Transformers movie. I love that movie. I really do. It is as great as the subsequent 3 films he did after that sucked shit. And yes, that includes the one he did in Chicago.
I'm an apologist for Dark of the Moon, dude.
You know, I know a number of people who are apologists for Dark of the Moon. I still thought it was terrible. And eventually the audience said, I remember I did this one big rant once where I was, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you again. Fool me 3 times, still shame on you. Fool me 4 times. Like, I kept buying into it and it kept being crap. And then finally the audience clued in, these are all terrible. And then came the Marky Mark Funky Bunches The Last Night. And the box office drop off of that was stark. And by the way, without Michael Bay, the last Transformers movie, which I think was called Rise of the Beasts, that was a return to the Michael Bay style. And it flopped. After you had a great Bumblebee movie, which was kind of the direction they should have gone with the Transformers universe, they went back to the Michael Bay style. It flopped. And now they're talking about Michael Bay coming back. And I don't think the audiences are going to be tricked again. Fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me 4 times. Enough's enough. I do not think this is going to reignite interest in the Transformers. So I think that's an overreaction. Rob, what about you?
I think it's a total overreaction. The last thing in the world itself needs is another Michael Bay Transformers movie. We've had enough. It ran its course. We have 5. And, you know, I will say that the greatness of Dark of the Moon cannot be ever surpassed. That last battle that lasts 45 minutes with men in wingsuits and robots tearing Chicago apart. Come on. It's one of the greatest things ever committed, celluloid or digitally captured. Loved it. But nobody needs another one. And like you said, The Last Night, I still don't know what that movie's about. And it's how many years later? I don't get it. I don't think he gets it either. But why bother? If you had a great story to tell, which I think that Bumblebee did. I mean, you got to see the beginning. In the beginning of that movie, you got to see Cybertron.
That was such a great opening.
It was rad, dude. I loved it. I'm like, this is exactly what I want from a Transformers movie. And I never even wanted a Transformers movie, ever, at all, after the animated one that Leonard Nimoy and Orson Welles are in, or were voicing in. I just think it's an overreaction.
All right. What's next?
To the nth degree.
All right, Rob. Is this an overreaction when we hear from Jacob James, who says the Legend of Zelda movie will make more than $500 million at the box office?
I do not think that is an overreaction. Having not seen the movie and don't know what it's going to look like, I would assume that in the wake of things like the Mario Brothers movie, that the creative entities behind Zelda know what they have. They know, there's a new Zelda game out too that's doing quite well.
Well, there was the sequel to Breath of the Wild,
right?
With Tears of the Kingdom, was that?
Yeah, I think it's
and that came out a little while ago.
So, but it is a franchise that is still ongoing and still very viable. And if you make a good movie out of it, it's going to make more than $500 million. It could do those Super Mario numbers. I think it's possible. If it's great, it could be $1 billion film. Yeah, if it's great.
I don't think that's an overreaction at all.
No.
Now, look, do I see it making Mario Brothers numbers? I don't, for 2 reasons. One, Zelda isn't as popular or has the reach of the Super Mario property. Second thing is that Super Mario's was animated, really targeted more families. This is going to be live action. But even with all of that, they've got a good writer on board. They've got a very good director on board. Yeah. The casting looks good. If this movie ends up being solid, and that's a big if, but if it is solid, I don't see any reason to believe this thing can't easily get 500. $1 billion, that's a stretch. But over 500 million? Listen, if Mario can make 1.3 billion, this can do better than half of that. So yeah, I don't think what you're saying is an overreaction. And that's not a guarantee, but I don't think it's an overreaction to say it'll make 500 million. All right, what's next?
All right, John, is this an overreaction when we hear from Jamerson? I think it's Jamersoni Movie Blog.
Jammers Annie Movie Blog. Yeah.
Jammers Annie Movie Blog. Between Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2, James Gunn has officially launched a DCU that is stronger than Phase 1 of the MCU.
Massive overreaction. Massive overreaction. For a couple of reasons. Number one, I mean, when Iron Man came out, it came out kind of in a vacuum, right? It came out in a vacuum and it sprung onto the scene and it just shook the I still remember we talked about it in Movie Trailers, A Love Story. When they dropped that first trailer at Comic-Con, it just shook the internet. Everything went crazy and it was great. And Phase 1 went on to become like iconic, just absolutely iconic. Creature Commandos is okay.
Yeah.
I'm a big James Gunn fan. Everybody knows I am. But and I thought Creature Commandos is good. I mean, it's not anything I'm ever going to rewatch again. Superman was great. Strong start. Peacemaker so far, really, I'm loving Peacemaker. I really am. But to say it's a stronger thing than the MCU Phase 1, which went on to be the foundation of the biggest movie franchise in the history of cinema. When we're one movie in, I got to say it's a big overreaction. Rob, what about you?
Well, I just wanted to just quickly check and make sure I had Phase 1 correct. According to Phase 1, between 2008 and 2012, to be correct here, it's Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, The First Avenger, and The Avengers.
Yeah.
So it's a wild overreaction to say that the beginning of the... to me, the thing about the beginning of the DC universe now is almost the exact opposite of the MCU in that it's starting small. Now, Superman was I like Superman a lot, like we just talked about, but it didn't begin on the planet Krypton. It was a day in the life, a week in the life of Superman. It was Peacemaker. Even though you go to an alternate universe this season, it's fairly contained. Creature Commandos had bigger scope, I guess, but it's growing. Whereas the beginning, Iron Man 1 hit us hard. You're in the caves of Afghanistan or wherever they are. You have Tony Stark taking on foreign armies and then building his Iron Man suit, and then you're going to Asgard, and then you've got the Incredible Hulk. You've got some key players in big movies.
Yeah.
Leading up to the Avengers that made $1.5 billion. So it's a big overreaction. But I would say that they're doing totally different things.
Yeah.
So I don't think comparing and contrasting them makes a lot of sense.
I will say this, though. Maybe let's ask the question again after Lantern, Supergirl, and Clayface.
Yes.
Now, I don't know that the answer will be different, but let's ask the question again after we've had more than one cartoon show and a Peacemaker series and one Superman movie. Let's ask the question.
So I totally agree. That's fair because you got to go from 2008 to 2012.
Yeah.
That was a 4-year period of time. So.
All right. What's next?
Okay, our last one up here. Rob, is this an overreaction when we hear from Dynamite something or other? If Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars are successful, we'll be back to a new era of peak MCU.
No, I don't think that's true. I think that's an overreaction. I think that the Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars will be the end of the MCU as we know it. It's not about peak MCU. It's about this is the end of a great season. That has been, it started real strong, but the second half of it has been spotty. What this does is it allows Marvel to clean the plate or clean the table and start anew. It's giving us, it's like, call it your class is graduating from high school. They went to college. They've graduated from college. And this is the end. Whatever it is, it's not the beginning. It's an ending.
I don't think that's true. I think there's going to be a shift in everything too, but whether it's the launching of a new timeline of the MCU, whether it's whether it's just a continuation of the MCU, regardless, I don't think it's an overreaction at all. Listen, I always say in this show, the old adage, winning cures everything. And when you putting out an Avengers film, it's not like putting out a Thunderbolts movie. It's not even like putting out a Fantastic Four movie. You're putting out the Super Bowl of movies. You're putting out Avengers films. Now, this is heavily reliant on the thing you specified, that if Doomsday and Secret Wars both knock it out of the park, yeah, the last 4 years are gone. The last 4 or 5 years, it's wiped out of everybody's thing. You do back-to-back biggest of the biggest stages Avengers films, and you crush them like an unto the way Infinity War and Endgame did. And those are the only 2 movies with a Spider-Man film that come out in 3 years. I guarantee you, you will be back to a place where it will be a fevered pitch again, where everybody is going to be chomping at the bit for the next MCU movie, just like we were prior to 2019. If, and again, it's a huge if Doomsday and if Secret Wars hit those heights, like Avengers 3 and 4 did, I do not believe it's an overreaction at all to say we will be back to peak Marvel. And regardless of whether it's kind of a restart or a continuation, I think we're right back there, Rob. I really do.
I think, though, that regardless, it's not those 2 movies that are most important. It's the movie after. Whatever comes after Secret Wars. And that's only if Doomsday and Secret Wars knock it out of the park. They have to exceed what Infinity War and Endgame did. They
I
can't
think even if they're 95% as good, I think that'll do it.
Maybe. I just think that then you're teeing up expectations. I'll tell you one thing. You better have something going for you that's not Black Widow. Because Black Widow, came out post-Endgame.
Yeah.
It was the first film. And I like Black Widow. I thought it was mid-range Marvel.
Spider-Man...
that was the first one out.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man was the first one that came
No
out.
Way Home?
I think Black
Not
Widow...
No Way Home, but
Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Far From Home was the end of that was the end of the
That was the beginning of
phase
Phase 4.
3.
Yeah.
No, it was the end of phase 3. Black Widow was the first beginning of phase 4, but it was the second movie after Endgame.
Right. So the Spider-Man was the first one that came
that's
after
what I
Endgame.
meant,
Right.
that it was phase, phase.
And not that good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Well, and everyone felt like it was just a throwaway film. Like we had to give her one and we forgot, so here we go.
That's what I mean. That whatever they don't have a Spider-Man Far From Home coming out after Secret Wars. I mean, they've got whatever they have after that would be. So I think it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But I do think I see it as an ending where Marvel's got to start anew. They can't, because even if it's the most successful movie, then they're teed up that people are going to be like, well, the next movie's got to be just as good as Secret Wars.
Right, but would you agree with me, though, that, I've said this a lot on the show, that the difference between Marvel pre-2019 and post-2019, I sum up as this. Before, when a new Marvel movie was coming out, we expected it to be great.
Yeah.
Today, when a new Marvel movie is coming out, we hope that it's good.
Yeah.
Would you agree with me, though, that if Doomsday lives up to its potential, and then Secret Wars fully lives up to its potential, that whatever the next film that comes out after that is, we will be back to expecting it to be great?
Oh, yeah, and
see, that's kind of the
groundwork. And here's another thing too. I think the obvious move is you're moving now away from the Avengers. Let's call the Avengers side of the Marvel universe. The obvious answer is to go deep into the mutants side of the universe.
Which is where a lot of people think they're going to go.
And I think they have to go. But the thing about the mutants is there's so many characters. It's not just Wolverine and the core X-Men characters. You've got a ton of interesting characters on the mutant side of things. And you could build an entirely new universe for the next 10 years just with the mutant side of things. You can bring in MCU characters as you want, but you've got an entire universe now of other characters to explore that could give them another 10 or 15 years.
Now, by the way, all this is predicated on the notion that you're saying that Doomsday and Secret Wars are great, knock it out of the park. This is a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
If those movies disappoint, but we'll cross those bridges when we get to it. Question is for you guys, what did you think about all this? And that wraps up Overreaction. Would you say that the statements and hot takes made by our viewers were overreactions or not? Jump down into the comments section below and leave your verdict there. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this thing here quickly. You know, there was this great era of comedies when you had Anchorman, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Hell, I loved Knocked Up. That whole era of films. And one of the films in that era was Old School. You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah.
You're my boy. And that, of course, had Will Ferrell and Luke Wilson in it together.
And Vince Vaughn.
Will Ferrell and Luke Wilson are joining forces together again, as reports have come out that Luke Wilson is now joining that upcoming Will Ferrell Netflix golf comedy series that they announced a couple weeks ago and we talked about here on the show. The folks over Geek Tyrant, I almost said Geek Rant. Geek Tyrant, right? Luke Wilson from Old School is stepping back into the fairway with longtime collaborator Will Smith in Netflix's new 10-episode golf comedy series. This marks another team up for the duo, who have a long history of cracking audiences up together on screen. Now, the untitled series centers on Lonnie the Hawk Hawkins, played by Will Ferrell, a fictional golf legend whose glory days on the course are colliding with the chaos in his personal life. The show already lined up a stacked cast, including Molly Shannon, Johnny Tatro, Fortune Femster, Chris Parnell, I really like him, Caitlin Tarver, and David Hornsby. Now, when I first heard about this, I thought, wait a minute, is this just a continuation? Because, you know, Luke's brother, Owen, has a new golf comedy series on. I think it's called Stick.
Yeah.
And I saw one episode of it. It was pretty good. My wife has watched the season. She said it was actually really quite good. So I'm like, we just had, what's the Adam Sandler one?
Yeah.
Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore
Two.
We
2.
just had Happy Gilmore 2. We got this other golf comedy Sticks on there. And now Netflix is doing another one with another Owen brother now, apparently, or another Wilson brother in there. Still, look, I don't care. I love Will Ferrell. He's simply a guy that never fails to crack me up. He just always does. Whether it's in a movie, whether it's at an LA Kings game, doesn't matter. He just finds a way to always crack me up. And I've always loved seeing him and Luke Wilson together. They've always done great. Actually, they throw in this thing here. Listen. Fans of Ferrell and Wilson will remember that this isn't their first time sharing the screen. Their comedic chemistry has been tested and proven across several films, including Old School, Wake Up Ron Burgundy, The Lost Movie, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, The Wendell Baker Story, Blades of Glory, and Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues. I mean, I love seeing these two together. I love Old School. So, you know what? Yet another golf comedy. Sign me up. Rob, what do you think about the news?
I love golf comedies. I mean, all the way back to Caddyshack. I'm all right. I mean, I love golf comedies. I grew up in a golf household. My parents, golf was sort of religion in our house. I'm not quite the believer that my parents were in golf, but I did grow up playing golf and caddying for my parents. So I love golf comedies, and I'll definitely watch it.
You know, it's funny. I live on a golf course.
You do.
Our house right here, we're actually on a golf course. We've lived here for 3 years now.
And every day I walk into the studio, there's a new golf ball.
Yep, somewhere
on the grounds.
Fun fact: yesterday I got home, and I look at my car, and wedged underneath between my hood and my windshield wiper was a golf ball.
No.
Wow.
It must have just
Really?
bounced, went in there, and just lodged in there. It was really weird.
Yeah, I end up having to fish about 3 or 4 golf balls a week out of my pool.
Yeah.
But yet we've been here for 3 years, and I've still not gone to play a round of golf. And we've always, every day we say we should at least go to the driving range, and we don't. At some point, we will. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Luke Wilson is re-teaming up with his Old School partner, Will Ferrell, for this upcoming golf comedy on Netflix. I'm looking forward to seeing them together again. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's pick things up and end things off with this. Now, we've already talked about the Jimmy Kimmel situation, of course, went down, threatens from the FCC. We're going to pull your license. They pull him off air for 6 days, 7 days. Came back, much higher ratings, all that kind of stuff. Even now, after the ratings have come back down to normal, because apparently his first show back, it drew like 6-something million views.
Yeah.
And that's not including YouTube. That was just the broadcast, when he averages about 1.1, 1.2 million views. Now, that's come back down, but now he's averaging about 1.8 million views, which represents a 50% increase from before they pulled him off air. Now, we're not going to retread on all the political stuff that went on behind the scenes that caused the situation, but this is relevant. As according to Engadget, Disney, because you remember when they first pulled Jimmy Kimmel, a lot of people vowed we're canceling Disney. Well, Disney reportedly lost, get this, 1.7 million paid subscribers in the 6 days that Jimmy Kimmel was off the air. Now, lest you think that that doesn't sound like that big of a deal, when you take average subscription costs, this is almost a third of $1 billion a year of lost revenue as a result of that. Now, that's probably going to be mitigated, because I'm going to make the assumption here, and I don't think it's a wild assumption, that once they reinstated Jimmy Kimmel, that probably a good percentage of the people who had canceled probably then resubscribed. But 1.7 million ain't nothing. That's a lot when you're talking about collecting $8, $10, $12, $15, $17 per month per individual. That leads into the double digits of millions every single month that you're losing out on. And I'm sure a percentage of that 1.7 are going to be permanent cancellations. Maybe not a huge percentage, but a percentage. That doesn't just mean you lost their $15 this month. It means you lost their $15 next month, and the month after that, and the month after that. And if that is like 100,000 people, 200,000 people, that adds up. That's significant. In their genius, Disney said, we've put Jimmy back on air. How can we get everybody to come back now? I know. Let's announce a price increase. Brilliant. Absolutely. Timing matters, Rob. Timing matters in life. Now, to their credit, the price increase was something we already knew in advance was coming. Like, I remember we did a story on this about a month or so ago, that a price increase was going to be coming down the pipe. But you know, timing matters. And the time to make the official, okay, it's here now, price increase, is not, and I'm not a Disney executive. I'm going to go out on a limb. I didn't graduate with a doctorate from MIT. But I'm going to guess the time to make that official announcement is not when 1.7 million of subscribers have canceled and say, well, we were thinking about coming back, but as long as I get to pay more, that's a good idea. It might have behooved them, Rob, to maybe delay the price increase a month or two, let the water settle a little bit, bring the temperature down a touch, get people resubscribing back up. I honestly, I don't know what brain surgeon came up with the idea. It's like, now's the perfect time to implement the price increase. Anyway, Rob, 1.7 million subscribers. I don't care if you're Netflix. I don't care if you're Peacock. I don't care if you're Disney. That is a huge knock. I was surprised to see the number was that big, honestly. I really was surprised to see the number was that big. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that, like you said, timing is everything, but a price increase coupled with the most public display of people being pissed at Disney that we've seen in a long time. In our politically charged environment, a lot of people had a lot of things to say, and you speak with your pocketbooks in a capitalist society. I think it was a perfect storm, or an imperfect storm for Disney, as it was. And it doesn't surprise me, but the number's high, but that didn't surprise me either. I mean, how many times it was not an insubstantial, these price hikes. I mean, how many have there been over the last 2 years, and where did it start and where is it ending?
325 of them. I counted 325 price increases. I'm making that up. But
Yeah,
yes,
no,
feels
but
like it.
It's like you can't expect. You know, we live in a society now where everybody just expects, as the prices are hiking all around us everywhere all the time, that we'll just roll with it. I mean, at some points, people have got to say enough. I mean, Disney, in terms of a company that charges a premium, they are the least family-friendly. Their content's family-friendly. But in terms of the pocketbook, they are the least family-friendly company that exists in the world. Anytime they can gouge you for money, as you've pointed out at Disneyland, there's no discount Disneyland. Disneyland is the most premium experience you could possibly ask or try and get. And Disney Plus is the same thing. And it's like, if they'll take an opportunity to get a few more bucks from you, they'll do it. And I think they're going to find out moving forward as our economy tanks even further that who's going to have time to put up with this? And they're going to I wonder why our stock price is faltering. Well, because there's only so much people can take before they're like, enough, I don't need Disney that much.
You know, I still stand by this because, I just ripped on them. I still contend, when you look at each individual streaming service individually, that what you get, I don't believe Disney Plus is overpriced.
No, I don't either.
Right? The problem becomes in a landscape where so much of what we consider to be premium content is spread across so many streaming services. And now you feel like if you want to stay up on all the big stuff coming out, you got to be subscribed to 6 of the streaming services. That's when everything starts to look like this is unreasonably big. Maybe companies like Netflix and Disney are counting on that to want to put other streamers out of business because people have to pick one or two of the other ones. And I also got to say, as inflation goes up, I recognize, I'm not blind to it. I recognize that means it becomes more expensive for Disney Plus to make their content and makes it more expensive for Netflix to make their content and what have you. I get it. It just seems though, like as an industry, all these streamers got to figure out a solution to this because I get it. Netflix can say, hey, what we give our customers for this $14 a month is a good deal. Disney Plus can say what we give our consumers for $16 a month. By the way, less than 2 Big Macs and a soda at a McDonald's.
Sure.
We believe we're giving you a good value. That's fine. But the streaming industry as a whole, collectively, you're all too expensive and you got to figure out a solution. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not going to pretend that I know what the solution is, but you got to come up with a solution that allows consumers to get the content they want and allows you to be profitable at the same time. There's got to be a way to do it.
And Disney, though, has to understand they're at the forefront of the family audience. Family audiences go to Disney first. And family audiences are also probably the biggest audiences that are most sensitive to price. And so when Disney raises their price, it hits harder.
So guys, question is for you. What do you think about it? We've got hard numbers now that in the 6 days that Jimmy Kimmel was off air, Disney subscription services lost 1.7 million subscribers. Now, I'm sure once he came back on there, a percentage of those came back, maybe a big percentage, maybe a mid-number percentage, who knows? But what else does that indicate to us? How big of an issue is this? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your, thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to do a couple of things here. First of all, we're going to bid good afternoon to Robert Meyer Burnett. Thanks a lot for being here, man. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Thanks for having me. I will be back. It's surprise day tomorrow. Anything can happen.
Surprise day. And we are now going to move over and start taking your questions. But before we do, we're going to take a quick moment and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Zapier. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Zapier. You know, one of the biggest game changers of the past year has been AI. But let's be real, just talking about AI doesn't actually make your day any more productive. What does make it more productive is finding tools to put AI to work for you. And that's where Zapier comes in. Zapier is the easiest way to take AI and plug it directly into the apps and processes that you're already using every day. No IT bottlenecks, no complexity, just results. For me, it's been about saving time on repetitive stuff so I can focus on the work that matters and I actually enjoy. And it's not just me. Over 3.4 million companies are already using Zapier to streamline everything from sales and marketing to IT and HR. With their AI orchestration platform, you can connect top AI models like ChatGPT or Claude right into the apps you already use. So whether it's automatically enriching leads, coaching your sales team, or even resolving IT tickets, Zapier makes it simple. Guys, join the 3.4 million companies already automating with Zapier and transform how you work with Zapier and AI. Get started for free by visiting zapier.com/Campea. That's zapier.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at Zapier for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, now listen, we haven't gone and taken our tip questions in a number of days because of a number of situations, but we are going to start to get caught up on here today. So let's start the journey here, shall we, Jonathan? What do we got up first?
To be as the answer says, McFeely, Marcus want us to believe the idea of Doomsday Secret Wars came overnight. What about Tony's reaction in Endgame when his dad mentioned the pregnancy? That confused face was part of the script, as if they knew it would be eventually used. Thoughts?
No, I don't think so at all. And by the way, they never tried to pretend like the idea for it, like the entire consent or the entire conceit of the upcoming story was just done overnight. But no, I don't believe anything done in Endgame. I don't believe any of that stuff had any connection to the new movies we have coming out whatsoever. I don't think they had already laid the groundwork for it. I don't believe they thought they were thinking ahead to the next round of Avengers films after that. I just don't think that was part of it at all.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Sean says, spoiler for Superman incoming. When it was restated to Lex Luthor that they no longer have available kryptonite, what are the chances that Batman actually captured the remaining kryptonite and has it locked in storage for a rainy day?
100% that Batman, every iteration of Batman that lives in a universe where Superman is also, Batman's got kryptonite saved up somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Batman has contingencies for contingencies. And there's only one contingency for Superman. That's kryptonite. I guarantee you that in this universe, Batman's got kryptonite somewhere. Hopefully, he's never planning on using it, but he's got to have it because that's just the way Batman's mind works. All right, what's next?
I'll keep one of that. Alan Alda, clear and vivid. John, what would you think of the prospect of Kevin Feige leading Lucasfilm after his contract ends and John Favreau overseeing Marvel? Not saying it's likely, but it could work in theory. That's just a job swap.
What's the point? Those are both lateral moves. And I don't see any connection at all. Like, I understand John Favreau directed a couple of films, but I don't see anything in here suggesting that he hasn't been remotely connected to Marvel really since then. I mean, he's appeared in a couple of things as an actor, but I don't see John Favreau doing Marvel at all. I don't see that being a connection. For Kevin Feige, you can make the argument that he is a lifelong, passionate Star Wars fan. Absolutely. But again, leading Lucasfilm is just a lateral move for him. It's really just a lateral move. He's heading a subdivision, and now I'm going to move over and just head another subdivision. Listen, the next move for Kevin Feige is studio head. That's the next move for Kevin Feige. Whether that's going to be at a NBC Universal or whether that's going to be at a Paramount or whether that's going to be whatever. Kevin Feige's next move is not going to be a lateral move.
Can you imagine if he gets picked by Iger?
Oh God. He's going to be, but Iger, he's not going to be the CEO of Disney.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige doesn't know the first diddly squat
He's
about
not a businessman like that.
About cruise
And
cruise
parks
lines
and everything.
or park experiences.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the next CEO of Disney. Okay, that's nonsense. But
He could be the president of Disney.
he could be
Pictures.
like, what was his studio head's name? Before?
Horn?
Yeah, Alan Horn, greatest studio executive of all time, in my opinion. He could very well take Alan Horn's old job,
where he oversees all the studio.
where he becomes the head of all of Disney Studios, and then he'll work for whoever the CEO of Disney is.
Right.
I could see that, or heading up another thing, but I don't see him making a lateral move to another subdivision company of Disney.
Right.
All right, what's next?
Captain Julius Strangepork. Mandalorian would be lucky to be profitable. I think people associate TV with cheapness. Serenity also wasn't profitable. although it discourages those without Disney Plus subscriptions to want to watch. Feels like a commercial to get people to subscribe to Disney Plus, although the budget's not that high for Mandalorian and Grogu compared to other Star Wars films.
It's still high.
Yeah.
But, I mean, here's the problem with your Serenity Firefly comparison. Nobody watched Firefly. As big of a cult classic as it's considered now, and I love it. I love Firefly. Nobody watched it. And you can come up with all the reasons. Well, because the network did this. Well, that's all fine. But it doesn't matter why nobody watched it. Nobody watched it. So this isn't the same situation, right? A lot more people watched Mandalorian than watched Firefly. And by the way, the movie version of Firefly, Serenity, awesome. If you've never seen it, you absolutely must. It's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, listen, I've said this before too, that my biggest fear about Mandalorian, and I have several fears about it, but my biggest fear about it is that it's just going to feel like a big, long Disney Plus commercial. I hope that's not the way it turns out, but that's kind of how it feels, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
I keep doing that muscle memory. Anonymous. Hi, John. First time tipper from the UK. I walked out of the cinema for the first time ever watching A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Found it so boring. How did Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie sign up for this rubbish? Are you going to watch it?
Nah, I knew right away when they showed a preview for it at CinemaCon back in April, and I knew right away, this does not look good. And that's fine. But listen, hindsight is 2020. Like, when these actors sign up to these movies, it's because the pitch is good and it reads well. But you've heard us say it 1,000 times. You've heard others say it 1,000 times. You don't really know what your movie's going to be until you start getting into the dailies and putting together cold cuts, like the cold edits. That's the first time you actually get a sense about whether or not this movie's working out or not. Because until then, it's just in your head. And every time a Colin Farrell signs up to a movie, it's because he believes it looks good, the pitch is good, and it sounds like it's got potential. But you never know until you start shooting it. And like, for me, it's just never something that looked good. I haven't heard particularly great things about it, and I myself am not planning on watching it. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous. I think WB should push back the release of The Bride from March to October 2026. Due to what looks like an amazing Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein Netflix adaptation this November. The more distance, the better, plus Halloween marketing. Thoughts?
Nah, I don't think putting this out during Halloween is really going to do it any favors. And I really don't think a Netflix movie is going to have any bearing on it. As a matter of fact, if anything, you could probably try to piggyback on some of the momentum from it. So, and look. This is Maggie Gyllenhaal's film. It's not going to be a huge blockbuster no matter where you put it. It's really more of an artistic kind of film with a take on it. And by the way, the previews, I was just talking about how the new Colin Farrell, Margot Robbie previews at CinemaCon did not look any good. The previews they showed us for this movie looked awesome. I think it's going to be great.
Which is good, but I don't think the trailer is hitting the mark.
Yeah, the trailer itself isn't hitting the mark. But again, this is never going to be a big, massive movie, no matter where you put it. So I don't think they need to move it at all. I don't think it'll move the needle for it. All right, what's next?
Ginger Cool. Oh, nice. Ginger Cool. I've always said that there's more to the Star Wars than Jedi and the Force, so here's a couple ideas. Just want to get your opinion on them. A pod racing movie? No. Or show a noir detective style movie, or show a heist style movie, show a horror movie. Yeah. Well, a lot of those were covered in the series, like Mandalorian and also Andor.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have also said for a very, very long time.
And Solo.
The most genius part of George Lucas's Star Wars creation was that it could be about anything. The universe that he created is so big and so vast. There's tons of different stories you could tell. Andor, at least one of the seasons, was kind of a heist story in many ways, right? Mandalorian was a Western. So yeah, absolutely. You can, and Starfighter is going to kind of be a Western as well. I mean, Starfighter isn't going to be about Jedis and whatever running all over the place. So yes, you can tell lots of different types of stories. That doesn't mean you should tell every kind of story, but you should branch out. And I think they are heading in that direction. And I think that's the right move for them to do. All right, what's next?
We got Alex Von Gollum with two-parter. Scroll down here a little bit. Hi, crew. Writing from
Moncton.
What's that?
Moncton, New Brunswick.
Moncton. Okay, New Brunswick today about the Wicked 2 final trailer. I know nothing of the story's conclusion. The trailer made me think that if done well, the movie can be an interesting and enthralling study into Elphaba's feelings and her becoming bad, while Glinda develops her veneer of wholesomeness, where she watches her relationship with her best friend crumbling. Could be a study on losing, gaining humanity.
I mean, listen, I was really, despite the fact that I'm not the target audience for Wicked, I was really impressed with the first movie. I was actually really surprised by how entertained I was by it. And I thought it was a very good story. I never went to go see the musical or anything like that. My wife Ann did. She loved it. My big concern is that they're kind of rewriting Wizard of Oz. And I'm not, again, I don't know the musical. I'm getting the feeling they don't have Elphaba turn bad. And I just went to go see Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. The Wicked Witch is wicked. The Wicked Witch is evil, okay?
I mean, she wants to kill the damn dog.
And she tried, yeah, she's saying, yeah, get you, my pretty hat. Like, she's bad. So I kind of like the idea of Wicked showing how somebody who is good gets driven to being evil. But I'm getting the sense they're not even going to end this with her being evil. So again, look, I think the first movie is wonderful. I'm expecting the second movie is going to be wonderful. And it's going to be really interesting to see. Again, I say this to somebody who doesn't know the musical, so we'll see which way it goes. All right, what's next?
Diddy's Disciple. I hope not. Hi, John. No need to include Ohio in the movie meetups. Nothing there but cornfields and Buckeyes fans. Instead, I invite you to come to hang out with us in Michigan. I sense some rivalry here. You could even hop over to Windsor, Ontario, as it's only a 10-minute drive from Detroit. Oddly enough, Windsor.
I will be driving through. Actually, I'm going to let you guys know. Later today, I will be putting up on my socials and on the community tab, the post tab of the YouTube channel, the next 3 movie meetup dates. And they will be for the areas of Chicago, Kansas City, and Indiana, in the Indianapolis area. 1 or 2 of them might be right in those towns. Some of them might be 10 or 20 miles outside, whatever. But the next 3 movie meetups are going to be Chicago, Kansas City, and Indianapolis. Look on my socials a little bit later today for the actual dates, theaters, movies, all that kind of stuff. But those are coming. I'll get around to Michigan at some point. I really, really will. I'll be actually driving through Michigan during this swing, but I won't have time to stop in Michigan, unfortunately. But it'll be coming. It'll be coming. All right, what's next?
This one's missing a name, so I guess we'll just say Anonymous says, with Wicked 1 and 2 having an estimated $300 million budget together and Wicked 1 having made over $700 million, does that mean Wicked 2 is pure profit? Also, Rose is the villain in Titanic.
Well, the iceberg's the villain in Titanic, but no, because you are forgetting marketing budgets, theatrical cuts, all that kind of stuff. No, the second movie is not all profit. I mean, it will ultimately be a very, very profitable series of films, but the first movie in and of itself was profitable. The second one will be too. All right, what's next?
Real Life Entertainment says, hi gang, just saw Howl's Moving Castle for the first time and just wow, it was so moving and so beautiful. Can't wait to watch more Ghibli films. Yeah, they do the every year they do the Ghibli festival.
Festival.
There's still more on the way coming to theaters.
We just did Howl's Moving Castle at one of our movie meetups the other week, and it was my first time ever seeing it on the big screen. It was a magical experience. I loved watching it on the big screen. It was so cool. And whenever you get a chance to go and check these ones out, whether it's that Princess Mononoke, whether it's my Neighbor Totoro, or whether it's whatever else, Spirited Away, if you get a chance to see these on the big screen, take them, because it's a really cool experience. All right, what's next?
Alex says, will you be doing movie meetups at the Tyler AMC, like a local one?
It's funny. Ann and I were just talking last night that I need to do a movie meetup here at home and in LA.
You should do Burbank. The Burbank.
We will. I'm definitely going to do a movie meetup at the Burbank AMC. Actually, you know what? Maybe even next week before I leave for the next stretch of movie meetups. But yes, I will be doing a movie meetup both at my home theater at the Riverside Tyler 16 and at the AMC Burbank 16. I'll be doing a movie meetup of both. I just don't know when yet. All right, what's next?
Okay, Alan Alda says, "Whoops, could the Wicked franchise lead into a full-blown future remake of The Wizard of Oz, or is that film still considered nothing's untouchable?"
Nothing is untouchable, but I don't see anybody feeling the need to do a Wizard of Oz remake.
Right.
I really don't. Not because it's untouchable. I just don't see it. So, I mean, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. They could at some point, but yeah, I don't see them doing it. At least let me rephrase. In the world of movies, 5 years is an eternity.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just say, I don't see that happening in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll leave it at that. All right, what's next?
Wade, the official gameplay trailer for Insomniac's PlayStation exclusive Wolverine is fire. If you haven't seen it, if you're interested, check it out.
I thought it was all right. To be honest with you, I thought it was all right. And I think the game is going to be great. And I'm looking forward to trying the game. But, you know, I was late to it, but a lot of people say, oh my God, the thing is so good. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't think the trailer was all that great, but I do expect the game itself will be pretty incredible. All right, what's next?
We got SB who says, do you think Battinson suit tech and Batmobile changes? I hope at the least the cowl does. Also, do you think the cameo of Batman and Creature Commandos matters as far as the look? If so, I think Alan Ritchson should be Batman based on physique.
No, it means nothing. James Gunn we already talked about that on the show actually after it happened. It absolutely means nothing. One of the reasons James Gunn told him to just keep it as a silhouette was because he was not in a place to make any commitments to either what the suit was going to look like, what Batman himself is going to look like. It meant absolutely nothing.
Right.
And you don't cast a person just because of their body type. It can help. I happen to like Alan Ritchson. I think he's turned into a pretty decent actor. I think he would be a good Batman, but you don't say, well, let's get him because he's got the right body type. That's not why you cast somebody. You get somebody who's the best fit for it. And the number one thing you look for is not the body type, but is the acting and what they can bring to it. But again, the silhouette we see in Creature Commandos means absolutely nothing. Meant absolute zero. James Gunn confirmed that, so I wouldn't worry about that part.
Here's a quick aside on casting. Let's say it meets all the marks that the actor meets all the marks that you just listed. But let's say the other actor maybe is a little sub on those, but his chemistry is far superior with the other actors in the movie. Well, how do you go?
Yeah, but at that point though, like I agree with you, but you don't then get how the lead's chemistry will be with the supporting. You get your lead and then you see how the supporting will have their chemistry with them, right? Like you make them the touchstone.
Yeah.
So,
and it's a franchise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. What's next?
No, was it Pablo Z? Yeah, Pablo. It's great hearing that you're taking your time on the road, John. By the way, I really love Spike Jonze as her.
Yeah, so good.
Sad to hear the late sequel, him, suck though. Also, how's Split Fiction so far?
Yeah, I don't know if it was this person, but on one of our movie meetups, one of our viewers gave me a copy of Split Fiction because Ann and I are big fans of the game It Takes Two. We haven't tried it. Again, we were on the road for a long time. Then Ann was gone to Pittsburgh for a while. And then we were just in Los Angeles for a couple of days for Comic-Con, LA Comic-Con. And he said, we haven't had a chance to play yet, but I am very much looking forward to giving it a shot because it sounds great. All right, what's next?
Jake Galbo says, John, if you were held captive in a warehouse for your movie knowledge by 20 men, then which on-screen Batman has the best chance?
Ben Affleck's.
Yeah, because
easily.
he did it.
Yeah, easily Ben Affleck's Batman. It's not just because of the warehouse scene, but that is clearly the Batman. Remember, the Robert Pattinson Batman is only 2 years into doing it. And the Christian Bale Batman, their fight sequences weren't all that impressive, even though the movies are iconic and epic. So yeah, easily the Ben Affleck Batman. That's the guy I would want coming to get me. All right, what's next?
Rich, I found Marvel Zombies to be a cool concept. The show fell flat for me, but I would love to see an Elseworlds movie of this. But I would assume a 0% chance. But they could get a different cast for movies like that to save money.
No, you can't. No, that's the whole point. Like first of all, this zombies is an Elseworlds thing. It is Elseworlds. It already is.
Right.
And the whole point of Elseworlds is that it's the characters you know, just in a different kind of reality. So you can't really, you kind of lose the whole Elseworldsness of it if you just go out and cast different actors to do it. And yeah, I thought Marvel Zombies was okay. I'm glad I watched it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was great.
Eyes of Wakanda was far better.
Eyes of Wakanda was much better.
And that was a 4-episode arc.
I was really surprised by how much I liked Eyes of Wakanda. Yeah. But Marvel Zombies was okay. It certainly had certain things that were great about it, certain things that weren't. But I don't see them making a live action. There's no point. There's really no point making a live action version of it. All right, what's next?
We got Gavin in a 2-parter. Overall, loved Alien Earth. I'm a bit disappointed. The finale was more set up, cliffhanger than a finale, especially since season 2 hasn't been greenlit yet. So here's hoping we don't have to wait. I know 3 to 4 years for season 2. John, I know it's a far drive. Trust me, I just did it myself, but I hope to see you in Nashville at some point. AMC Bellevue 12 is a great theater with open parking, tons of great food. Beside it with a wide open space up front. Hope to meet you soon.
Without going into details, I can tell you they're already working on Alien Season 2. I'm not saying they're in front of cameras filming, but I can tell you they're already working on it without giving away too much. And I will definitely be doing a movie meetup in Nashville. If for no other reason, well, 2 reasons. One, I love the food in Nashville. I love the food in Nashville. The other one is I got a couple of really good friends in Nashville that I don't get to see very often. So yeah, 100% at some point we will be doing Nashville.
Cool.
All right, what's next?
Zodley. Every time I watch the new Peacemaker opening, I like it more and more. What's your thoughts on the song now that we are getting closer to the end? And I have to say, after episode 6 is the most recent one, I was going to tell you, like, dude, this song's grown on me now. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I've always liked the song, but it just is not the same as, because the other thing about the song in season 1 is that it's just a great tune. Like, I would love the screen's dark. Okay, I hit play, screen's dark, and then if you really want to take that, like, it's just better. I'm not saying the song itself is better, but as an opening song to a show, it's just better. It's got much more energy. It's got much more hit. It just instantly brings me in. So I'm not saying that the overall intro is necessarily better than season 2, but as the pure song, nothing's going to beat that first one.
Well, the song, yeah, but I mean, this song fits the tone of what the series is right now.
Sure, I give it that. Yeah, but the question was, what do I think of the song?
Yeah.
And it's a good song, but it does not compare to season 1. Season 1 song just as a opening tune to a show, best I've ever heard. Absolute best I've ever heard. All right, what's next?
Rock Soldier. AMC is driving me into a new level of frustration. This afternoon I went to see a movie. It was 10 minutes past the start time. That just sounds like a technical error. Before the Nuvi and pre-show ads ended to start the stubs ad and trailers, then a full 25 minutes. That had to have been technical issues.
Yeah, hopefully it was a technical issue. And I think Jonathan's right. It sounds like that was probably a technical issue, in which case they should have just ate it and moved on.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to go off on my regular rant. You guys all know how I feel about them starting a movie 30 minutes after when they say a movie is starting, when you pay to be there. Again, it's a different thing if they're showing you a free movie, like our show. It's a free show. You get open up YouTube, you can watch our show for free. The way we make money then is by playing ads and doing commercials. That's fine. Hey, AMC, you want to let us in for free to watch the movie? Go ahead and show us 30 minutes of ads. If not, stop. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Matt W says, hey, John, when you make your way to Michigan, consider the MJR Troy. Recently added a laser IMAX with luxury recliners.
Oh, we'll take a look at it when it's time for us to come to Michigan. All right, what's next?
Eric, the Seahawks fan. Thanks, John, for a nice chat the other night in Kent, Washington.
That was fun up by Seattle.
I was so nervous and starstruck, but once we started talking, I realized how down-to-earth you are. We talked football and movies like we were old friends. It was nice meeting you.
It's one of the great things about being movie fans. is that we can instantly have cool stuff we can talk about, even if we've never met. I tell this story before, but it's true. I remember being at one of the times I was at Comic-Con in San Diego. We had rented a house that was like 15 minutes away. And so we would take Ubers in and out for it, right? And this one time jumped in an Uber with this Middle Eastern guy who I have clearly nothing in common with, spoke kind of broken English, right? But we passed by a billboard of a movie and he kind of mentioned something about it. And I mentioned, and all of a sudden, the next 10 minutes of the drive, we were just engaged in this awesome conversation. We come from completely different cultural backgrounds, completely different, ethnic backgrounds, completely different. We had nothing in common at all, as far as I knew, but we could talk about the movies instantly. It's one of the great things about being a movie fan, and one of the great reasons I've been loving doing these movie meetups. All right, what's next?
We got a Mad Dolphins fan here who says, you can only watch 2 comic book movies in 2026. Which are you choosing? Supergirl, Spider-Man 4, Clayface, and Doomsday.
Leave that up for a second.
I think I got my 2.
Okay, now, look, while I am very, very interested in the Clayface movie, that's going to be the first one I'll take out.
Uh-huh.
So that leaves us with a Supergirl, Spider-Man 4, and Doomsday. Oh! All right, I'm going to say Supergirl and Doomsday.
That's mine.
That's tough. I don't like giving up Spider-Man 4, but if you're telling me I got to only pick 2, I'll pick Supergirl and Doomsday.
I've seen so much of Spider-Man, and I want to see where this universe goes with the DCU.
That's exactly my reasoning, too. That's exactly my same rationale. All right, what's next?
Wyatt, the Wolverine trailer, excuse me, the Wolverine trailer does have a bunch of gameplay in it.
I don't remember now. All right, what's next?
The Blade, that Blade game looks pretty cool. That was shown a long time ago.
That preview they showed us at the Game Awards a couple years ago. Still haven't seen anything more of it, but it looked great.
Anonymous, I'm surprised nobody has asked about the show Task. It's on HBO starring Mark Ruffalo as an FBI agent and Tom Pelphrey as a criminal. He's after who robs drug houses, created by Mayor of Easttown writer. It's 3 episodes in and fantastic. I just recently added it to my queue.
I have seen the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
I haven't watched episode 3 yet. It's really good.
Nice.
It's really good. I don't think it's the same showrunner of, Mayor of Easttown. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know, but it's got that feel. Mark Ruffalo's great in it. And it does a great job. I love it when the show or a movie gives me a, oh my God, what the hell do you do? kind of feeling. And this show, especially like at the end of episode 2, delivers that in spades. So I actually watched the first 2 episodes when I was on the road in the van, and and episode 3 hadn't come out yet. So I haven't watched the 3rd episode yet, but I'm really liking Task. It's really good so far. I hope they're able to continue that through. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says James was most likely teasing Brainiac, but what other villain uses a brain? Grodd. My theory from Superman.
Time out. Technically speaking, Anonymous, every single villain uses their brain.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there. Literally every single villain uses a brain. Anyway, please continue.
Even, what is his name, Man Shark? What was the shark guy in Suicide Squad?
King Shark.
King Shark.
Even King Shark
uses a brain.
Uses a brain. Anyway.
My theory from Superman when watching it was that one of the rage monkeys would eventually turn into Grodd. If this was the case, Lex would have a good reason to team up.
Grodd is a gorilla. A monkey is a monkey. A monkey doesn't turn into a gorilla.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, why would it be a human head on the cover? Again, I'm not saying that human head dissection thing that was on the screenplay cover automatically means it's Brainiac.
Right.
I mean, it's likely that it's Brainiac, but I acknowledge it doesn't automatically mean it's Brainiac. But there is nothing there that suggests it's Gorilla Grodd. There's nothing there that suggests it. Yes, he uses a brain. So does everybody. So I don't think you're on the right track with this one. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think you're on the right track with this one.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right. We got Nelson who says, if it wasn't for the John Campea show, I'd miss Modland, but thanks for recommending it. I'm not a fan of spin-offs, but I would love to see a spin-off of almost every character of this show.
You don't even need to make it a spin-off. Just focus the next season on a different character. Modland was really enjoyable. Like, I don't think it's I don't think it's the top tier that I'd put up with, shows like, whether it's House of the Dragon or whether it's Shogun. I wouldn't put it up there, but it's that next tier down. I thought Tom Hardy was great in it. I can't wait for it to come back. All right, what's next?
We got Ready Teddy Seti says, hi, John. I don't think a middle-aged actor is the proper casting for Kratos. You seem to think they're starting with Kratos versus Norse gods.
Yep, that's what they're going to do.
The original series, Kratos was a young Spartan general.
Doesn't matter.
With a goatee looking for revenge against Ares.
I know that, but it doesn't matter.
For tricking him into killing his wife and daughter. That Kratos was likely in his 30s in that series that didn't end until he killed Zeus. He doesn't become the god of war until he kills Ares. That starts in Greece. With that being said, my picks are Clive Standham and Rollo from Vikings and Vin Diesel.
Yeah, nope, they're not going to do that. They're going to go right into the most popular, epic, whatever one, the one that won Game of the Year.
Vin Diesel's not young.
And Vin Diesel, he's well into his 50s.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel. And I'm a big fan of Vin. I love Vin. But nope, they're gonna go from the most rich storytelling, and they're gonna go with where he's got the son and the wife. That's where they're gonna start this thing from. Now, they haven't made that official, and so the possibility exists that they could go earlier into the games, but I'm telling you, I'll be really surprised if they do. They're going to start off with the storyline of that Game of the Year winning one from a few years ago. And that's where they're going to start. And that's why they're going to need the slightly older Kratos. All right, what's next?
We kind of answered this, and this is our last of the tips. But hi, John, with the release of the new PS5 Wolverine trailer, what are your thoughts of Liam McIntyre as the new we didn't answer this.
No, not live action.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great. I like him, by the way. I've been a fan of his for a lot of years. I think that's fine for the video game. I don't think he's a fit for a live action one, though. All right, is that it?
Yeah, basically, I can continue from if you want.
No, we're pretty much out of time.
Yeah.
So we'll finish getting caught up on all the rest of them tomorrow, guys. But for now, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. A big thanks again to Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.